Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is David with The Concrete Bro. In this video, we will be pouring out this A.D.U. If you haven't already seen the first part of this video, check us out where we get the footings dug, set our forms, install our rebar, get our subgrade compacted, get our plastic installed, and the sand installed and compacted as well. Check us out. In this video, we'll be pouring this job with a 3000 psi pea gravel mix. We ended up using about 10 yards just in the footings alone. So here's the first 10 yards. We were pouring it into the footings. It ended up working out pretty good because we ended up using the full 10 yards in the footing. That gave the footings a little time to set up before the second truck came. This is a second truck here. We're getting our edges floated out and getting our heights going, lifting the wire as we go. This is Tony with the pump there, Advantage Pumping out of Cherry Valley, California. You got Brent pulling the wire mesh up with Stidle Construction out of Redlands, general contractor. And me and Ryan are rodding the concrete, and Pablo is helping us pull the hose today. So here we are rodding the concrete with the rod board. These are aluminum rod boards. They don't sag in the middle, they stay straight. They're special for rodding concrete with. So we like using these rod boards. Right here we're just double checking our edges, make sure they're staying level to our existing foundation. And then we're rodding right to that. Okay, Rhino, you're good on your side? Let's roll.
Yeah, give me a long one.
So yeah, make sure you go to the form whenever you get a chance. Yep. Okay. Catch up to. Go ahead.
Okay. Are we gonna go to the end of that wall and turn and then down?
Yeah, we could do that. We could turn and burn with the other size now. This is too long. Throw that out in the grass in the front, please.
Thank you. A longer handle for picking up oranges, right?
He should have made me a longer one.
If you want to jump outside, you can just get it from outside.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, but that little bit helped.
Hey, was that built for Tony?
I'm gonna start right here, kind of weird real quick. Oh, you all right? Just kind of ride that form right there.
Pretty locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's like cheaper, right?
Possibly, yeah. Stay right there real quick, Rhino.
You're outside now.
Come on, David, I gotta regroup.
Pull back. Oh, watch yourself.
Or you want to keep it going?
Leave it for now. We'll get it when we come back. Ready, Rhino?
Said it's dry. It's
Go ahead.
coming out right now, dude. That's what trips me out right there. That looks wet.
I know. I tell you all the time.
Dude, dude, I gotta lift it up. It's just dropping.
Oh, wow.
People always say, oh, it comes out wetter at the end. No. Or it drier at the end. No, it doesn't.
And
Because
you know, like a boom pump will be that way because it squeezes it.
well, there'd be 100 times people are like, oh, that's too wet. I go, look at the pump. It's stacked out. You're going from this wide, pushing all that moisture here is going to appear wetter.
Yeah, dude, that's a trip.
I just listened to what Tim said. He said just act like you know what you're doing.
Sure.
But he does do a good job at it.
Yeah, I know it is.
So now that we have laid down the concrete, our first tool that we'll be using is a 4-foot wood bull float. And we like using these wider bull floats so that it'll find, basically as you're pushing forward, you want to push the float forward without lifting it too much in front. So like in that spot there's a little high spot, and you'll find the high spots as long as you ain't lifting the wood float too high. The same as when you're pulling the float towards you, you don't want to lift it too high as well, so that you find the high spots and you can push those high spots into the low spots, therefore leveling out the foundation, making sure you ain't got no high areas or low areas. So that's our first step, is to run the bull float. At the same time, we are also sealing it up in a way. If you leave it exposed without floating it, it'll want to dry too fast and then you'll get surface cracks. So besides using the float for leveling it out and finding the highs and the lows, you also want to make sure you get that first float on it to seal up the concrete. Careful, don't put your foot out too fast.
I know, I keep tripping on all these.
Yeah, 1%. About 45 minutes.
There's 1% here?
It took us 45 minutes to get this down on the ground, or at least 40. Last time, probably like 30.
1% battery you used? You used? Is that what you're
In
saying?
other words, it's down to 1%.
Oh, the battery's 1%.
Okay, so here's the 4-foot Fresno. We got a couple weights on it. So the concrete's starting to tighten up at this point, starting to dry a little bit more. Being that the middle is only 4 inches thick, it's drying a little faster. It's on top of that sand as well. So with the Fresno, we're running it to get a smooth finish on the concrete. At the same time, it is also, you'll see where there's a couple spots where there's low spots. So if we need to, we'll add a little bit of concrete in those spots. If not, a little bit of cream sometimes just takes care of it. The cream from the concrete. So with this also is another form of sealing it up. Again, if we were just to leave it on the float, it would dry a little too fast. So everything's at the right time and using the right tool. So here on the edges, it's a little wetter, being that the footings are a lot thicker in those areas, so it takes a little longer to dry. But still, usually when you run a tool, you want to kind of hit the whole area. You don't want to skip too many areas when you're running a tool. If you're going to run the bull float, you hit the whole area, either if it's wet or dry sometimes. Or if you have to, you leave the wet areas without touching them and hit the harder areas first. It's tight in there. Yep. All right. There's no rabbits out there where you guys are at, by the way? Yeah. Salt and sea.
Yeah, rabbits, bunch of big old jackrabbits too.
You guys don't ever go after them, huh? You have to get a tag or what?
No, you just gotta know. I think it goes that if the month has an R in it, you can eat them, but if the month don't have an R in them, you can't eat them or something like that. They're worms.
Oh, wow. So at this point, we are running the funny trowel. With this trowel, it's also leveling it out, filling any little small voids, any small low spots. It is also sealing it up. So with this trowel, it allows us to get out to areas that we couldn't get to without having to get onto the concrete, without having to jump onto it and slide it out, finish it by hand. It's not quite ready to get on the concrete yet. It's still a little wet. If you get on there too early, you start making low spots and creates a lot more work, because then you got to float in the areas that you're sinking in with your sliders. You can see right here on the edges is still pretty wet, being that these areas are a lot thicker. Like I said, it takes a little longer for them to dry, and the moisture is coming up quite a bit from the concrete. So we keep hitting it, leveling it out, making sure everything stays level. If we have to, we'll add a little bit of concrete on those edges. Sometimes they'll settle about 1/4 of an inch or about 1/8 of an inch. So we just keep checking them. Those thicker areas tend to settle a lot more than the thinner stuff. So you want to just keep checking them. Right here, we're floating the edges, making sure everything's level to the top of our form.
No, she was older than him by like a long shot. I think he was 20 something and she was like 30.
So here's Ryan giving it our last pass. And with foundations, with my experience and all types of concrete, the more harder trowel you can get on it, the stronger product you'll get out of the concrete. So right here, we're giving it, this is probably about our 2nd or 3rd pass on the sliders, besides what we did with the Fresno and the funny trowel. But if you guys made it this far, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. Thank you guys. See you guys in the next video. All done, guys. Check it out. Got all our upright stakes out. Just leave the kickers to keep it tight to the concrete.